Yes, the kind of plan that we've got for today. Well, welcome everybody, first of all. Um, I think everybody knows how to use Zoom these days. So uh, if you're not got something to speak to read out, then please leave yourself muted until we get to any breakout groups and so on. The plan that we've got for this morning is that the theme is the unity of all things with Hereford Interfaith Group. And as I just said a moment ago, Brian Holly, who's on our CANA core group, is also a member of Hereford Interfaith Group, and it's through him that we've arranged this. I was going to ask Brian to say a little word about Hereford Interfaith Group, but he's apparently not here yet, having trouble with his computer.
Mike would be a good second person.
Yes.
Volunteer Mike.
Mike, could you say a word about Hereford Interfaith Group? Just to explain what you are?
Yes, thank you. It is helpful if everyone else mutes when because I have a musician setting on, and it tends to cause an echo if other people aren't muted, and especially later on we will have some music. So yeah, we're quite a small interfaith group in Herefordshire. We have Baha'is and Christians and Buddhists, and I'm a Sufi, and my wife Susanna here is a Catholic, and there is a great deal of friendship in the group, spiritual friendship, and someone once described us as more of an interspiritual group perhaps than an interfaith group, and yeah, we all get on very well, and Brian particularly is a great light in our group. So yeah, we're very happy to be invited to contribute to CANA today. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And we'll have to remember to mute when I think Mike's going to be leading us in a chant a little bit later, or two chants at various stages. So our program then, that's it on the screen at the moment. So after our group alignment, we're going to have a chant which Mike's going to start, and then a series of readings from different faith traditions on the issue of oneness. And then we're going to have a first breakout rooms, and then a short break. And then we're going to be looking at the Golden Rule and its application. And again, finishing that whole section with a second chant. And then more conversation. Sorry, Mike, I didn't catch that.
Brian has just arrived.
Thank you. Good to know Brian's here with us then. Brian, if you're just arrived here, we have just introduced via Mike the Hereford Interfaith Group and what they're about, and it sounds great. At the end of the breakout rooms, we'll have any questions, comments, discussions, and so on, and finish with that closing intention. So that's the plan for today. So I'll just stop sharing that for a moment. And our first thing is to light a candle and have a sort of group alignment. And I'll hand over to Jane, who's going to lead us in that.
Okay. Unmute. Thank you, Don. I light this candle to represent the light of spirit and truth that is found in all religions. It is a light that has guided men and women for thousands of years. It is a light that is with us still. We who are present now open ourselves to this light, to the spirit that links us to sacred reality, to unity, and to each other.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane. So we're going to move into our first section of thinking about oneness, and I'm going to bring up our screen. And now I believe Mike is going to lead us in a tune.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so it's helpful if everyone mutes. I think everyone is muted actually. But thank you. So this chant comes from the Indian hugging saint Amma, as she's called. She goes around the world giving darshan, and she also does a huge amount of humanitarian work and is acknowledged by the UN.
May the light of unity dawn in our minds. May the light of unity dawn in our minds. Every thought of understanding opens our hearts. Every thought of understanding opens our hearts. Only love is our guiding light. Only love is our guiding light. Only love can heal and unite. Only love can heal and unite. May the walls of separation vanish in our love. May the walls of separation vanish in our love. Every word of kindness brightens up the dark. Every word of kindness brightens up the dark. Only love is our guiding light. Only love is our guiding light. Only love can heal and unite. Only love can heal and unite. May forgiveness and compassion grow in all we do. May forgiveness and compassion grow in all we do. Every deed of goodness leads the way to peace. Every deed of goodness leads the way to peace. Only love is our guiding light.
from the Baha'i writings. Each sees in the other the beauty of God reflected in the soul, and finding this point of similarity, they are attracted to one another in love. This love will make all men the waves of one sea. This love will make them all the stars of one heaven and the fruits of one tree. This love will bring the realization of true accord, the foundation of real unity.
After each reading, we have a time to read it again and ponder.
The promulgation of universal peace. Love the creatures for the sake of God and not for themselves. You will never become angry or impatient if you love them for the sake of God. Humanity is not perfect. There are imperfections in every human being, and you will always become unhappy if you look toward the people themselves. But if you look toward God, you will love them and be kind to them. For the world of God is the world of perfection and complete mercy. Meister Eckhart, 13th century Christian mystic. Do not be content with the God you think about, for when this thinking comes to an end, you lose the one you thought about as God. Trust that you already have God in your heart, for God is always already there. And in that trust, you will find God shining out to you in everything in your life.
one light. What are I and you? Just lattices in the niches of a lamp, through which the one light radiates. I and you are the veil between heaven and earth. Lift this veil, and you will see how all sects and religions are one. Lift this veil, and you will ask, when I and you do not exist, what is mosque? What is synagogue? What is fire temple?
Of Native American origin. I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. When you are at that center within you, and I am at that place within me, we shall be one.
What use is God if we do not know ourselves deeply? To know the stillness, where words, concepts, and theologies dissolve within the fullness of being. And we see our original face unmasked, which we share with all life, in the joy and happiness of life as one being love. Ursula Le Guin. It is no secret, all power is one in source and end, I think. Years and distances, stars and candles, water and wind and wizardry, the craft in a man's hand and the wisdom in a tree's root, they all arise together. My name and yours and the true name of the sun, or a spring of water, or an unborn child, all are syllables of the great word that is very slowly spoken by the shining of the stars. There is no other power, no other name.
Jesus from the Gospel of Luke. On being asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come, Jesus replied, "The coming of the kingdom of God is not something that can be observed, nor will people say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is,' because the kingdom of God is within you."
Jesus from the Gospel of John. I and my Father are one. Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one.
People normally cut reality into compartments and so are unable to see the interdependence of all phenomena. To see one in all and all in one is to break through the great barrier which narrows one's perception of reality.
Eckhart Tolle.
At the deepest level, an open heart is spacious presence, in which the sense of separateness between yourself and the other dissolves. And there is the recognition of oneness, of shared consciousness. That recognition is love. Sensing the formless essence in another and recognizing it as one with your own essence, that's what love is. All this is an intrinsic part of the awakened consciousness and the revelation of the spiritual dimension of life.
Edward Schrödinger. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
Thank you. Edward Schrödinger, naturalized Irish physicist. Quantum physics thus reveals a basic oneness of the universe.
Thank you for leading us through all those readings. And I think we see from this that this idea of oneness, this interconnectedness, this idea of everything emanating from one divine source that is across all the religions and is even spoken of in science as well. So we're going to go into breakout rooms now, and unlike previous sessions where we've had facilitators in our breakout rooms, we've decided to leave you to it, basically. So our breakout room, the question for them is, what does the term oneness mean to you? What does the term oneness mean to you? And then also, if you have time, what practices do you or might you use to develop a sense of oneness in yourself and your spiritual community? So 2 ways of thinking around oneness. What does it mean to you, and how can you develop it in yourself and in your community? So I'm going to stop sharing now, and we're going to, Bill is going to put us into groups. Welcome back. The usual things happened is that most people are not quite, well, some people are not quite back yet. But if you are, please switch on your video and we can see you're here with us. Okay, we're going to move on to our second set of readings in a moment, which is readings about the golden rule. I'm sure most of you know what the golden rule is, but the readings will elucidate and tell us a little bit more about it. And again, it's time between the readings to think, to reflect, to ponder on what is brought up for us by each of the readings. So I'm going to share the screen again, and I think the first one to start is Brian, who's going to read for us first. So sharing screen, and Brian, away you go.
Reflections on United Nations Day of Conscience, promoting a culture of peace with love and conscience. Today, as every day, as every moment, our individual humanity depends upon our listening to the voice of conscience, the inner moral guide provided by the Creator and endowed as part of the inherent dignity and sacred value of every human being. Today, as never before, the admonition and guidance of the wise to love our neighbour as ourselves. Today, neighbourhood is a moral location, not limited by nation, religion, creed, race, gender, language, or ethnicity. It is not a geographic location, for in reality, the entire world is one family. This family is challenged by threats of pandemic diseases, which do not recognise borders any more than the radioactive fallout of the over 14,000 nuclear weapons 9 states threaten to use every day, in fear-driven model of the pursuit of security, or any more than the impact of irresponsible uses of fossil fuel changing the planet's climate. Addressing these threats reminds us that health concerns and security concerns anywhere can impact the entire human family. This means our conscience must now be guided by a love appropriate to reality. This means a love without borders is needed to bring about policies to address threats without borders. This ideal of growing into the greater love has always been embodied in the spiritual and moral instructions of the wise, and today events drive us to the practical realization of its necessity.
The Golden Rule. Buddhism. Hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. Christianity. All things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do you even so to them. Confucianism. Do not unto others what you would not have them do unto you. Hinduism. This is the sum of duty. Do not unto others which would cause you pain if done to you. Islam. No one of you is a believer until he desires for his brother that which he desires for himself. Jainism. In happiness and suffering, in joy and grief, we should regard all creatures as we regard our own self. Judaism. What is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. That is the law. All the rest is commentary. Zoroastrianism. That nature only is good when it shall not do unto another whatsoever is not good for its own self. Baha'i Faith. Blessed is he who preferreth his brother before himself.
By faith, blessed is he who preferreth his brother before himself.
Bawa Muhammadin. If each of you will open your heart, your actions, your wisdom, and your conduct, and look within, you will see that every face is your face, every nerve is your nerve, each drop of blood is your blood, all hunger is your hunger, all poverty is your poverty, all lives are your life. You will experience this in your nerves, in your body, and in what you see. When that state develops inside you, that is God's love. If that love develops, you will not hurt any other living thing. You will not cause pain. You will not reject any life. And you will not torture any other life. Because if you hurt anyone, it will hurt you.
Albert Einstein. O youth, do you know that yours is the first generation to yearn for a life full of beauty and freedom? Do you know that all your ancestors have felt the same as you do and fell victim to trouble and hatred? Do you know also that your fervent wishes can only find fulfillment if you succeed in attaining a love and understanding of people and animals and plants and stars, so that every joy becomes your joy and every pain becomes your pain?
From Sa'di, the Persian poet of the 13th century. The human family is one body with many parts, creations arising from one unseen essence. Any harm to any part summons an awakening, a dis-ease, and a healing response from all parts. You who fail to feel the pain of others cannot be called truly human. And of course, let us never ignore the moral principle so clearly offered in the most powerful, clear guidance of conscience.
Abdu'l-Baha. Therefore, must all souls become as one soul, and all hearts as one heart. Let all be set free from the multiple identities that were born of passion and desire, and in the oneness of their love for God, find a new way of life.
Reflections on United Nations Day of Conscience, promoting a culture of peace with love and conscience. Nations must treat other nations as they wish to be treated. Nations must not do to other nations what they would not want done to themselves. Nations and their leaders ignore these universal laws of reciprocity at enormous hazard to us all. I would also add that the Sustainable Development Goals, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the legal duty to obtain the universal elimination of nuclear weapons embodied in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, express policies consistent with our shared global conscience, and they call for our passionate support to be fulfilled. But first, and never to be neglected or forgotten, is our individual duty to listen to the highest love in our hearts and the voice of conscience, which will always compel the expression and alignment with that love. Let love awakened by conscience and conscience awakened by love guide our hearts, heads, and hands.
So this chant comes from an old Indian poem. You're my mother, you're my father, you're my lover and my friend. You're the beginning, you're the center, you are beyond the end. I love you so, you help me see you in all, see you in me. I'm in you and you're in me, I'm in you and you're in me. I'm in you and you're in me. You're my mother, you're my father, you're my lover and my friend. You're the beginning, you're the center, you are beyond the end. I love you so, you help me see you in all, see you in me. I'm in you and you're in me, I'm in you and you're in me.
Thank you all the readers of that section, and a big thank you to Mike for leading us in those lovely chants at the beginning and at the end. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because we are all one. So into our breakout rooms again. How does that golden rule operate in your own life? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. How does that work in your life? And also, what makes it difficult? What makes it difficult? Hello, everyone. I think we're all back. Sorry if some people get cut off mid-sentence when the breakout groups close, but that's just the way Zoom works. Well, we've got a 10-minute session now, really, to get any feedback from the breakouts or any comments or questions. And I think we're all here on one screen, aren't we? So if you have something that you'd like to say, then just wave your hand and we'll bring you in. You would like to go first? Any volunteers? Carol, go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank Brian and the group for these very, very moving quotes. It's quite thrilling to me, especially in the light of what I'm sure everybody is very concerned with what's going on and politically and stuff. I'm just so moved. And also, I really want to share it with others. You know, the quotes that we received, they're so moving and helpful. And I've often wondered about the Baha'i faith, but hadn't really looked into it. And that's something I very much want to do, you know, so thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Yeah, Bill, we could circulate the quotes, couldn't we?
Yeah.
To everybody who's on the call today. Because Brian helpfully put them all onto a document, so we could do that.
Don, Hilda or Mary put their hand up.
Okay, yeah, Hilda Mary, go ahead. You're muted at the moment. Unmute yourselves.
Oh, you can do it up there. Oh, right. No, sorry, thank you. I was just going to ask whether it might be possible to have copies of the quotes, but it sounds as though we can, so that's lovely. And just to say, I'm so sorry, I'm taking a service here at the convent, so but thank you so much for today. It's been wonderful.
Yes.
I very much enjoyed the chants that we had too. That was very relevant for me and beautiful too.
Yes, thank you, Mike, for those. It's lovely to have a bit of music and very meaningful words. Brian.
Yes, I found the conversation was just so rich, and after a half hour of frustration trying to get in and finding every computer in the house wouldn't let me in, I thought the universe is against me for some reason today. What have I done wrong? But having arrived and having been among you and listened to the things that we put together here and the sharing of the group afterwards has been so beautiful. I feel calm and restored. So thank you for that. I believe that these things can just seep into us and enable us at a very, very deep level to behave differently in the world. They don't have to be practiced and rehearsed. I think if we reach a place where this kind of response to the world becomes almost like part of our autonomic nervous system. It gets built into us as we just dwell on in the and meditate on the concepts and ideas, and just in the silence itself, and just enjoying that presence that comes to us when we are silent and still and allowing our minds to be fed from another source. So I want to thank everybody for being here today and for richly contributing. And I'd love to know what went on in the other groups. So so perhaps the people who ended up as being facilitators by default might like to chip in and just any words of what went on, what were the rich things that came out of the other groups.
We spent some time talking about the ego and and its inherent sort of way in which we need the ego to grow in the world, really, but also its inherent tendency towards selfishness, and the way in which we need to be able to just gradually let go of the ego and come at the world from a place of love and compassion, whilst knowing that ego nature is still there. And I think we sort of talked around that for a little while.
What I do is when I have a thought that I realise is ego, I say to it, "Oh, hello, little ego," and so processes it and puts it in its place in a kind of a loving, accepting way, but without letting it take control.
One thing we didn't talk about, which has occurred to me, is the importance of having a meditation practice in all this, to be able to settle into silence and stillness, and to let go of all those clamoring thoughts and pushing emotions, and to just be able to sink into that place of love and compassion, that divine core within us.
That's interesting, because our last session, that's all we talked about was meditation. So yeah, all different groups, different ways of talking about it. But what I found is that I didn't have a lot to say about the Golden Rule. I thought, isn't that wonderful that it's there linking all the religions? But it's not something that I consciously think about in terms of my own life and practice. And I don't know if some people do. And like Brian was saying, it's sort of like it's an inherent part of one's inner being that if we have that meditation practice, if we're people that are living by spirit, we tend to live by the Golden Rule without actually consciously seeking to do so, if you like.
Hi, Fran.
Oh, hi.
Yes,
that was an odd.
Any other thoughts or comments to throw into the group here? If not, then I think we'll move to our closing intention, and I'll bring up the screen with that on, and then Jane, I think, is going to say a few words about that and lead us into a few minutes of meditation on this thought. So Jane, over to you.
Thank you, Don. Yes, this is based on the fact that there's a lot of evidence that a group of people, if they hold the same intention together in their hearts and minds and spirits, it actually really has a powerful effect. So it just always seemed a shame to us to have this whole group meeting together without using it, if you like. So this is our closing intention today, based on our topic for today. So if, after I've read it out, if we could all just hold that as an intention in our minds and our hearts together for a couple of minutes. May the truth and spirit that link all faiths move us together towards an understanding of universal spirituality and deep interconnectedness in love for all life.
Don, continue, please.
So as we now come to the end of our time today, thank you to all those who've taken part, to the Hereford Interfaith group especially for bringing it all together, to Mike for his singing ability, and to Brian for being the impetus for it all to happen. Coming up in CANA, we have a few things over the next few months. Actually, on the 25th of November, that's next Saturday, Janice Dolly, our stalwart founder, really, of CANA, is doing a talk for Contemplative Fire, which some of you may know of that group, called Exploring the Evolutionary Edges of Christianity. If you want to take part in that, then you need to get a link from Contemplative Fire, and that is their email address, info@contemplativefire.org. So that's next Saturday. Our next CANA Online Sacred Space, or COS, it's our sort of hour-long session of liturgy for the different seasons of the year. The next one is for Imbolc, and that will be on the 3rd of February on a Wednesday morning, 10:30.
Is that the right date, Don? What day do you come back?
Oh, right, yes, no, that's true.
The 7th, is it?
I think it could be the 8th it's meant to be. Wednesday the 8th. Yeah, I haven't got the diary to hand, but it will be going out to you all anyway, those who receive the CANA mailings. And our next Conscious Conversations is actually, we've got on the 17th of February, we've got Neil Douglas Klotz booked. Now, Neil Douglas Klotz is a well-known academic who has looked into the Aramaic teachings of Jesus and has given tremendous way of looking at it that broadens the whole teaching, and the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer has become quite well known. But he gives us the root meanings of the words, which enable a whole breadth of understanding to come out of the words, the original words of Jesus in Aramaic. So we're very fortunate to be having Neil Douglas Klotz on the Saturday, the 17th of February. And Jane, there was something else you reminded me to say, but I've forgotten what it is. So if you would like to say it.
Okay. So first of all, the course is the 7th of February. It's the first Wednesday in February, the 7th of February. Yes, our next e-letter, the topic is dealing with conflict at all sorts of different levels. So if anybody would like to write something for that, do send it to us. Send it to Bill's email address, if that's the one you've got, or to info@cana.org.uk.
Thanks, Jane. So I'm going to stop the share, and I think, Jane, if you would like to blow the candle out for us and end our session here together.
My computer's frozen, so fortunately Bill's got his one going. So here's our candle that we lit at the beginning of the session. So as I blow out this candle, let us imagine the light of spirit and truth that this flame represents, filling our world and enlightening hearts and minds. Thank you.
So thank you all for being with us today. Every blessing to you all. May you go well.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bless
Bye-bye.
you. Bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.